Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Dr. Melissa Balizan here. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. I wanted to say hello to everybody. I want to go ahead and just pull up my other account so I can make sure that that we are able to see everything here. So let's see. All right, so today we are going to talk about, I want to make sure I can pull up your questions. So today I thought we'd talk about health and vulnerability. And so being vulnerable is, you know, when you're put in that state that you're at risk for something. And so vulnerability can be a physical thing, it can be an emotional thing, and that can affect your health by being vulnerable. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about stress and how that can actually, lead to more serious problems, as a stress management coach, and helping you be able to reclaim your health and optimize your health and get you to the minimum number of medications. We want to talk about that. And so, excuse me, bear with me here so I can get this this pulled up. I can't see my screen over here. I want to be able to make sure I can see all your questions, and I'm not able to do that just yet. So let me just make sure I get that here. So, okay. So no questions yet. Okay. So as far as vulnerability, so when you become vulnerable to a stressful situation, that can actually affect your health. So we talked a little bit about the other day that stress can actually affect your heart. It can affect your breathing. It can affect causing anxiety. It can cause stomach issues. It can cause all sorts of things. So stress leads to a host of diseases, or diseases are compromised by excessive stress. And so that actually puts you vulnerable. So sometimes when you are vulnerable, you become in that situation where stress makes things harder for you. And so you're put in that state. Maybe it's you are anxious a lot, and so the anxiety puts you in that vulnerable state. And then when you go into your job or into your work environment, and something translates in there, and it actually can put you so that you're not as apt to be able to handle that pressure. And so what I want to be able to do for you is help you manage that vulnerability, help you manage that anxiety and manage that pressure. And one of the things that I do is helping you do that is through some practices for stress management techniques, and going through some different exercises depending upon what your goal is. So if you're already on a medication that maybe you're trying to manage it, maybe we need to look at some alternatives if you want to get off that medication. If you don't want to get off that medication, then we need to look at different things. But if you ultimately want to be healthy and make sure that you're not having problems into the future, so you're trying to be healthy now and eliminate some chronic diseases, or get rid of a chronic disease that you have, be able to control it with a lifestyle medication. So changing it with what you eat, with your nutrition, and how you're moving with your exercise. So those are a couple of things that can be done. And I just want to thanks everybody for watching. I see a few of you are on here. Just want to, if you have a comment or a question, just go ahead and pop it into that comment box there, and I should be able to see that. So, when we're talking about how to manage our stress and how to manage our vulnerabilities, that's something. So there's now, when you have that anxiety and things like that you be put into that situation. If that situation is at work, or if it's at family, or when you drive or something like that, there's different options we can look at. And when we look at that, we look at how that's affecting you. And so how severe it is, if you've already been put on a medication and if you want to get off, we look at, are there alternatives? We look at, see if we can get you down to a bare minimum of a certain medication, or get you completely off if that's your goal. And we also look at optimizing your environment. And so optimizing your environment, so if a certain environment puts you in that anxious situation, then there's a couple of things that we can do. We can talk about, is that environment good for you? So is it a toxic environment that maybe you need to try and get out of? If it's something that you can't get out of, then we need to definitely look at ways that we can manage that. And so we have different options for that. And looking at that, so there's different ways to work with me for that. And looking at your vulnerabilities. And now we also have the ability to take an emotional day or a mental health day. And what that is to help you kind of clear your faculties and clear your brain, because sometimes the stress of what's going on just definitely adds to life, compounds our health, and causes more issues than what it's worth. And so sometimes you need to take that mental break. You need to take that mental break day. And so if you're able to do that, I highly encourage you to do that. If you're an entrepreneur on your own, make sure you schedule time in for that. If you work for somebody else, then make sure you talk to your human resources and see what's available for you. If you're put in a situation where you really do need to just, take a little bit of time. I know that there's a lot of work environments are adding that in, where there's the ability for you to basically take that mental break and take that mental health day, because our mental health is very, very important to us. And without health, whether we're talking mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual, your body's not going to be able to function properly. So make sure, if you need to take that day, take that time, that you check with your HR department and see if that's a possibility. If you can't take that day, then you take some time for yourself later at night and make sure that, we find a way to work with your anxiety and work with whatever else is going on so that you can reset yourself. And that's how we want to optimize your health. And so that's one way to take charge of your health. And then thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate you tuning in with me today. If you have a comment or a question, just go ahead and pop it in the comment section there, and I should be able to see that. So when we're talking about like heart disease, so heart disease is one thing. When we think of stress and we think of the how stress effects can cause high blood pressure, it can cause a heart attack to happen, it can cause some other things to happen with our heart. And so with that, I want to give you a couple of pointers. And so if you already have high blood pressure and you're already taking a medication, or you've changed your lifestyle, so you're eating better and you're exercising more, you're moving more so that you're at your optimum level, then you want to see, is there something else that you may need to do? Because sometimes that's hereditary. Some of the conditions that we can get, they're actually hereditary. And so we can do our best to control them with lifestyle modifications, but sometimes it just doesn't always function properly. And you need to have that little supplement, or you need to have something to help you support through that system. And so we want to, find out what your goal is. And if you're able to control it with, like I say, with lifestyle, there's a couple of different diets out there that, in a diet, I mean what we eat in a day. You can also follow a pattern. So the DASH diet, which is a lower sodium diet, and it's lower in preservatives and things like that. So you eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and a little bit of protein, and you really do limit that salt intake, because that salt intake, the way that your blood pressure functions is that when you have a lot of sodium, you're retaining that water, and that retaining that water can actually, the way that it works with your kidneys, it causes a spike to happen, and it can cause that blood pressure to raise. And so we want to make sure that we're limiting the amount of sodium that you're getting, especially if you already have high blood pressure, or you're at risk for high blood pressure because somebody in your family already has it. And there's a high genetic incidence for that to happen. There's also a high genetic incidence for that to happen with cholesterol. And two of those things there actually, can lead to heart issues, whether it's plaques in your arteries from your cholesterol because of things that we've eaten, we've ingested into our system, or whether it's the way that we aren't exercising appropriately or moving our body. When we're moving our body, that's good for our heart, that's good for our joints, that's good for everything. And so just a little bit of movement is very good, and so we can work on getting into more movement. I do try very hard to get about 10 minutes after each meal, and that helps me. And then I have another routine that I work through with I have an elliptical, and then I do some yoga and a couple other stretching exercises to kind of keep me moving throughout the day. And I'm limited at certain points because I've injured one of my knees, and so it does make it a little bit more difficult. And I understand, injury and limitation and things like that can happen. So just use your caution and make sure you're doing something safe. So when we talk about the vulnerabilities and things that can happen, just know that can cause that stress to happen on your life. And so I want to leave you with this, and the time is now. You're here, you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. It's time to take charge, time to take back control over your life, over your health. And without health, you don't have it. If you don't have your health, what do you have? So that's one thing that you need to make sure that you take control of, and you take control of it now. And that way, going into the future, you're going to be optimal, and you want to optimize that health that you have. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Since I haven't seen any questions, I don't really have much else to say about that right now. There's a lot more. If you know somebody who wants to decrease their medications, please reach out to me, leave me a comment. You can also email me at melissa@coloradowife.com. And that way we can get in touch. And so we can see about getting down to the bare minimum number of medications, supplements that you're taking, so that we can optimize your health and get you to your goal. If you would like more information and you want to still keep seeing these experts that I've had on and keep watching and learning from them, then you want to join in my Facebook group. And so that is because there is so many experts in there, that is a paid group, but you're more than welcome to come in and try it out. It's a monthly fee. And if you don't like it, then you can leave. So if you want to do that, you can also email me, or you can tap into the link that's from the summit list. So I bid you a good day. I hope you have an amazing 4th of July weekend, and that you're doing something fun, and have a good day, and take charge of your health. You're doing the right step. You're here, you're watching. I really appreciate you for being a part of this, and have a great day. And in your health, take care. This has been Dr. Melissa. Bye-bye.